It finally happened for the San Jose Sharks as a fan favorite makes his jump to the top line and makes a huge impact. Plus, a new addition scores a goal. Celebrini picks up another one, and an unfortunate injury has occurred. We're going to break it all down for you guys coming up on this episode of Sharks Digest. But before we get into it, we got to say 91% of you guys watching these videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, want to stay up on the latest Sharks content, news, rumors, everything happening around the San Jose Sharks, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But Josh, we got to jump right into it. And just to bring up the box score from last night, it was an unfortunate loss. It could have went either way for the San Jose Sharks team, losing 6-5 to the Nashville Predators. But there is something in this screenshot that we need to talk about later in this video. But at first, we got to jump into the Dellandrea hit, leaving him in a very painful state on the ice. It did look like a high hit to me. Didn't really look like clear contact, head contact, but, who knows? From the other angle, it could have looked like a clean headshot. But this led to Dellandrea not returning to the game, being out with an upper body injury. After the game, head coach Ryan Warsofsky had no update on him and said the refs made the right call. And, this comes at a tough time for San Jose Sharks because they just lost Nico Sturm to injury. Now they're losing an impact guy here on the fourth line in Dellandrea out with this injury. We don't have a timetable as of yet, but this guy has been an impactful player for them, having 99 hits this season. He's more of a fourth line guy, gritty guy that this team really needs, Josh.
The fear is always something like concussion or worse, right? And Dellandrea has been a guy that, at times, the production's maybe not really there, but as a fourth line guy, 5 points, 99 hits, he's filling his role, right? That fourth line has some good grit. You even got a guy like Cunnin who's putting up some decent numbers down there. He's bounced around the lineup a bit, but yeah, to see Dellandrea go down, tough to make a comment on the hit. Look, match penalty, I also think it's the right call. That's it. We'll see if, I don't know if any further action is going to be taken. Haven't heard anything about that at this point, but the only thing we can do is wish Dellandrea the best. Hope it's nothing too serious. Hope to see him back soon because he's been a nice guy to have in that bottom six. So really excited for him, though. Despite the injury, the one thing it does do, Casey, is open up a roster spot, and you have to wonder what's going to happen there, but I think that's a good transition to our chat here about Walker Duehr. Now, I know a lot of Sharks fans didn't really know a lot about Walker Duehr, but now with another spot on the right side opened up, there's a chance that Walker Duehr could stay in the lineup a little longer term, and Ryan Warsofsky basically said that Duehr was good. He went to the net, scored a goal, something we talked about this morning, thought he competed hard on walls, on pucks, big guy that can skate. He's had his moments with the Flames, and people were surprised he got claimed by the Sharks, but it's starting to seem like, especially now with the unfortunate injury and with the roster spot opening up on that right side, Duehr could be here a little longer, and I thought he was quite solid in his first game, Casey.
Yeah, definitely. This guy looked really good out there. I thought, when we talked about him just the other day, Calgary Flames fans hated to see this guy go, and now we see why. After this game, coming in, making an instant impact, tipping one in front of the net, using that big body to his advantage, and it's unfortunate that we are going to lose Dellandrea for some time. It seems to be, but it does give Duehr an opportunity here. Where I said the other day, I thought it might have been a one game and done situation, but seeing the impact, not just the goal, but just he had on the ice, using that physicality, winning the board battles for this team, it really shows that he wants to stay here and he wants to earn this spot. And I think this is going to be big for this San Jose Sharks team going forward, no doubt about it. But we got to talk about Granlund because this guy had an unreal game last night. He had 3 assists in this 11-goal shootout between the Preds and the Sharks. And this is what Warsofsky said about him at the end of the game. He said he's been really good over the past 2 games. He's skating more. He's making plays. He likes that line, which we're going to talk about a little bit more at the end of this video. And he says, Granny makes a lot of impacts at the power play, on the penalty kill, all over the ice, and we've seen this so far. He's been the Sharks' best player this season, putting up 43 points in 49 games. Josh, when your head coach is talking about you this high and is saying, we want this guy in on every situation, he's got to be buzzing right now hearing that.
He's got to be buzzing, but also a lot of teams around the NHL have got to be buzzing. I think the biggest impact on Granlund is the fact that this dude is just increasing his trade value day by day. And as much as I like Mikael Granlund, right? He's a fantastic player. He's fun to watch, an incredible playmaker, and he's even got that, little knack for goal scoring every now and then. I mean, the thing with him is that he's going to fetch a lot for the San Jose Sharks. A lot of contenders are going to want a guy like this on their team, a guy that can score. Now, again, I know when you talk about guys that you want in the playoffs, you think of more physical guys, bigger guys, whatever. But a guy who's a near point per game player this season on a bad team nonetheless, and he's had some okay line mates, but you just imagine a team that's just waiting to break out, a certain line that just needs that playmaker to get going down the middle. This is the guy you bring in for that, and he's not on a huge contract either. So, I mean, Granlund's riding high, the team is riding high, the coach is riding high. I think he's going to fetch a pretty penny at the deadline. He might be one of the guys, unless we see another big blockbuster, that could go for the most. But Casey, yes, Celebrini scored a goal too. Like, that's pretty much par for the course at this point. Celebrini's been great, but this top line is something we really got to focus on, because not only was it Granlund getting 3 assists, we got to talk about the fact that Will Smith has made the jump. It finally happened. He's getting that chance. He doesn't have to play with bottom 6 players anymore. He jumped up, and even Warsofsky said, hey, he thought that top line was good. Fabian Zetterlund, Mikael Granlund, and Will Smith. And I want to point out, if you bring that box score back up, not only did Will Smith get a point here tonight, he was a +3 in a game that was ended 5-5 in regulation, right? And it went to shootout and ended 6-5, but really that 6th goal is not a real goal, right? So with 10 goals in regulation, Will Smith was a +3 on that top line. Yes, I know a lot of that's because of Granlund's great play, but Casey, does Will Smith ever look good? Did he ever look like he had some solid chemistry there for most of this game? And the passes he's firing, like, I don't know, it feels like Will Smith is almost ahead of the curve right now. There's sometimes I think his line mates will just have to get used to him, because he's making plays that I think he couldn't even really make with the other line mates he's had. Not to say they're bad, but to see him finally on this top line and playing a really good game is something that, look, I mean, we've seen him play up the lineup occasionally. We've seen him get some big moments, but this game last night was something where I was like, dang, like, this is really significant for Will Smith's development.
I mean, he's home. I mean, this is where he belongs on the top line. He looked phenomenal last night. He fit into that top line like a puzzle piece. And it was just amazing to see how well he played in this game, and getting that opportunity to say, hey, coach, you know, I belong here. And he really proved that last night. And I've been a guy who's been very high on Fabian Zetterlund all season. I think this guy is very, very underrated in terms of the entire NHL. And having a guy like Will Smith who can pass the puck with ease to a goal scorer like Zetterlund and Granlund. I mean, Granlund can score goals as well. He can't just, I mean, he had 3 assists last night, but this guy can score goals. I think Will Smith, the style of game he plays with the more kind of playmaker style, he can still put the puck in the back of the net.
Oh, yeah.
I think this guy really, really gels with these two guys on this top line, and I really don't think we're going to see this change. I think having him up there now is where we need to see him for the rest of the season, especially with the injuries on the right wing right now with Sturm and Dellandrea out. I think we will see him up there, and, you know, if it keeps working and it keeps being successful, like you said, his play was +3 last night. There's no way they change this, and I think we are going to see this line turning to a very, very dominant line. And
I got a question though.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Casey, because I'm interested in something. Can you bring the lines back up? Because I agree with you that he could stay here the rest of the season. But what happens if Granlund gets traded? Do we maybe see Will Smith play alongside Celebrini for longer stretches down the stretch? I don't know. That's just a hypothetical. I just felt like I had to ask it because Toffoli's obviously so good. And Will Smith, 19 points in 43 games right now. Is there a world where we could see, like, if Granlund goes, I don't know what's going to happen with the center position, but, like, I'm starting to think that we might get to see some Smith-Celebrini pairings. I don't know what's going to happen with Toffoli either, but I don't know. I'm excited for the young guys. What do you think?
I think there is a world where we see it, but it does really see like Celebrini and Toffoli are clicking right now. I mean, these two guys are playing well, very well together. So if Granlund does get traded, depending on what they get back for him, I would say it would be a lot of draft capital. I don't think they would trade for another player unless it's, you know, a young 20s kind of guy who can go with their future. I think we could see them test the waters here. I mean, they're kind of in tank mode right now. I hate to say it, but I mean, it seems like they're going
Shark Tank
for Shark Tank mode. Yeah, it looks like they're going for some picks here at the end of the season. So we could see Celebrini and Smith. I think that's definitely the future line for this team. But
or run Will Smith down the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Will Smith,
he can play center.
He can play center as well. You know, we got lots of different combinations we can go through right now, and that's the best thing about this Sharks team. Watching such a young team kind of find their footing, find their way throughout this league. We are going to see so much change here. It's going to be fun to watch, and I mean, Celebrini and Will Smith, they're on absolute fire right now, and they got the whole league fired up. We want to hear your guys' thoughts on the San Jose Sharks down below in the comments section. Are we trading Granlund? Let us know down below. And if you enjoyed this one, subscribe to the channel. We'll be here every day bringing you the latest Sharks news. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Josh Goose. We'll catch you in the next one.